आगे सर आवाज आ गई
आगे ठीक है
वहीं पे सेट करो चलो
कहाँ से आ गई ट्रबल शूट पे इस पे गया ना मैं तो अभी आवाज आ गई अब क्यों आ गई पता नहीं मुझे बट ये आ गई तो मुझे लगता है शायद ये अपडेट के बाद ओके हो जाए नेक्स्ट टाइम
चलो
अब वो दूसरा वाला
स्लाइड और कर दे
ठीक है
11 बजे के बाद देख लेना इसे 11
हाँ स्लाइड को ऊपर लेते हैं शो कहाँ गई शो
आता है विंडो
जो नेक्स्ट क्लासेस में उसको एडजस्ट
शेयर ऑल टैब
सर एक टाइम होगा जितना डिले
कुछ टेस्टिंग करनी है और क्या करते हैं
सिस्टम जी शायद
ऑन करना आवाज आ रही है
आप चालू करवा दो सर 11:15 पे तक 11:15 तक ठीक है जी 11:10
आवाज आ रही है
ठीक है 11:10 तक करा देंगे जी
हाँ अभी ग्रीन ब्लिंक कर रहा है
उठ जाओ
ठीक है सर ये हटा दूं व्हाट्सएप हटा दूं
स्लाइड लगा के छोड़ दो व्हाट्सएप आउट कर दो
ठीक है
स्लाइड लगा के छोड़ दो
पीपीटी
हाथ उठाइए अच्छा कर दीजिए
बस
प्रोग्राम के बाद Good morning to everybody. So again today MMPC 011 it is a social process and behavioral issues. So today I'll start block 2 that is unit number 7. Sorry. Motivation. Now unit number 7 is a motivation. So motivation is the process of inducing persons to experience needs for certain desired behavior so that the organizational efficiency is achieved. So motivation, in another way we can also say the motivation is the product of anticipated values from an action and the perceived probability that these values will be achieved by the action. So motivation causes goal-directed behavior. Feeling of a need by a person causes he behave in such a way that he tries to satisfy himself so that he does not feel the lack of that particular things. Another concept of the motivation is in the force of 5 human needs that is placed in hierarchical order. As we know, that is the Maslow, that is a physical safety, security, social, self-esteem, self-actualizations. There are pyramid shape. So base is basically the basic. First is the lower level, that is your physiological layer. Then after that, safety and security layer, social, like this way. This concept is based on the assumption of the internal motivations. Now, everyone is an organization needs to be motivated. Supervisor and managerial staff need it so that they will be able to motivate their subordinates. In most of the cases, we are just talking about the workers' motivations, but it is also needed to the supervisor and managerial level. They also should motivate it because then only they can better way they can motivate to the subordinates. So motivation and a higher productivity go together. It is both it is a hand-to-hand. Managers primary function to see the persons under them work most efficiently. As they are in closer touch with their workers, they can understand their problems and better, and also know their needs. So if necessary, they can take the advice of the personal or industrial psychologist of any other consultant. Some of the multinational companies, they have appointed some psychologists also, so that they can interact with the personals, the employees, and they can give the feedback to the management. So that way they have to appoint some of the consultant also to get the correct feedback. Type of motivations. Intrinsic motivations is related to the job one is doing, and other thing is this: whatever the things he is doing, she is motivated or not, satisfied or not. That is one of the part is individual parts. Another is extrinsic motivations, that is externally the job or task. For example, financial incentives for doing a job well or production may motivate the workers. Some of the bonus or declaration of the annual incentives, performance related performance link incentives. So all are basically part of your extrinsic type of motivations. Determinants of the motivation. That is in part of things, the individuals, to know what can motivate employees, that is the individuals. Organizational components are organizational structure, technological system, physical facilities, which constitute internal environment of an organization's effective motivations. So here actually we are talking about the determinant. What are the determinants of it? Then external or exogenous variables. The worker's life outside the factory is also an important factor, affecting his motivation or willingness to work inside the factory workers. So, for example, if the workers is working and the other, what the way is his willingness to work, it will be more towards the worker or not, because that part is very important. Because people, workers should be happy outside the factory also. Some sort of your cultural programs or the picnic. So all these are given a boost up to create a additional boost up for the your workers' willingness to work more. Characteristics of the motivations. Individual differs in their motivations. Motivation is highly situational. Motivation change. Motivation is expressed differently, and motivation is complex. So this is the characteristics of the motivations. Now, specific actions to motivate others. Here actually we are talking about particularly how to motivate the others and what type of action you have to take it. So managerial action in general can take 4 forms. There are 4 forms in general. Provide more of the values reward to the persons. This is true because you have to give a value to the persons. It's a part of your motivations. Change the values of the persons towards the rewards which are available. Improve the person's perceptions of the behavioral reward linkages. So you have to improve the person's perceptions. So, okay, you can do more work if you hard work or perfectly you are doing, yes, quality work is there, then definitely you will be get a reward also. So that type of reward system should be there based on the performance. And awareness is also required. Basically, to they can try to improve it. So improve the reality of the behavioral reward linkages. So this is all your action to be taken for the motivated others. Workers. Now motivation of workers. How to motivate the workers, that is a aspect we are talking about here. The top managers of a company must possess a high need for power. That is concerned for influencing the people. A manager concerned with developing friendly relationships, that is also very important. And third is your managers must delegate authority through influences or through persuasions. A good manager should reward the workers for their good performance Because if you are not recognized, if you are not announcing, or you are not provoked to good things in positive way, yes, you have done very good things. So that type of reward is there. Maybe in the certification or some cash award also. Some of the companies are there giving some cash award also. So now they have to give it. Suppose this year this persons are now best executive award. Throughout this performance, they have to declare, company will declare, yes, he is the best executive for particular this year. So this is also reward, some sort of, maybe in the certification case, in maybe your in terms of money, in terms of get or the way you have to give something. Effective managers is their efforts to influence subordinates to get work done, express their strong power needs in the democratic, people-oriented ways. So this is the way you have to motivate the workers. Then motivates and the managerial behavior. The top managers of company must possess a high concern of influencing people, and the discipline is also discipline and control, so that they're directed towards the benefit of the institutions as a whole, and not toward the manager's personal benefit. Always see the institutional benefits. Moreover, the top manager's need for power to be greater than his or her need for being linked by the people. So these are all our behavioral aspect. Now I have to go for block 3. There are block 3, there are unit number 8, there is group dynamics and the team building. So here actually we have to discuss about the introduction, then the concept of the nature of group, different stages of the group development, determinants of the group product, teams, effective team building, and the problem aspect in teamwork, and different type of attitudes. So there are various definitions of the group that can be stated as follows. According to Farnham, 2005, that a group is made up of the persons more than 2, which is who communicates regularly, share goals, and they interact with each other over time. So building of the effective bonds means through this, you can communicate through this meeting, or nowadays you can take the help of the technological things, Zoom meetings, or the way you have to interact, you have to communicate the things. That is so that you can have a build up, some of the bonding you have to build up, and some general meetings or technical meetings. But the way the groups are of extreme importance in an organizational setup, mainly because the larger goals of the organizations. Because without group, you cannot achieve the desired goal. That is important. Stages of group development. There are so many stages are there for the group development. Any group, whether formal or informal, will go through stages of group development. There are 5 stages. That is for the model of the Bruce Trackman. He has discussed about these things. The 5 stages that have stayed by his model are as follows. One is the forming. Initial stage, basically we can say it is the initial stages when you are forming a group development. So this is the initial, or we can say the formal forming stage. Task-oriented behavior focus on the members' efforts to define and some agreement among the members to be done. You have to decide, okay, this is the role play you have, this is your work, this is the task, this is the activities you have to do, that responsibility you have to distribute it, and take an agreement also. Means the acceptance of the to do this work. So that is the forming stages. Then after that, the storming. Things get serious in the storming stage normally. Because this stage, you have to deal the characteristics, or a lot of conflict will come out. That the members may indulge in, and there are power struggles between them, and then some sections get established. So This is the area where you have to be very careful about these things, and behavioral patterns and some control is very much required when the storming. It is the essential step because then only you can get a feedback. Now, norming. This is another step, but stages of the development. That is, during this stage, there is increased clarity in the roles of the responsibility of the group members. And task-oriented behaviors in the norming stage evolve into sharing of informations, a sense of shared responsibility. Because in this area, you can actually you can define what is the role and different areas. Before that, whatever the storming part is over, after that now we have to finalize the things. A role and responsibility has to be finalized. Now, performing. This stage is denoted by visions that is clear. So there is also clarity and regard to the purpose of the group and how to effectively and efficiently the group is able to perform its tasks. That is the performing part. Then adjournments. This is the last stage, last 25th, and the last stage where the work has done. There are people or group are already developed. Now the task is accomplished, and thus the group can now adjourn and move on to the other tasks. So this is the final stages, completion of the work, we can say it. Now, determinants of the group productivity. There's a group size. The determinant first things you have to group size. The group size denotes the number of groups, how many groups will be there. That is size you have to sequence and how much group combinations. There's a group composition is also to be seen. This is the next aspect of can have the impact of the group productivity. Because composition should be a good one, for example, one manager should be there, then one assistant, one your subordinate. So there you have to make some compositions where the administration, technical, finance. So you have make a group with as per your requirement. Group norms. This is yet another aspect that can have an impact on the group productivity. Group observations, group norms. This is yet another aspect that can have an impact on the group productivity. Then group cohesiveness. This is yet another aspect that is significant in the context of group productivity, because cohesiveness is very much required. Otherwise, it can be reduced your conflict also, and jointly you can do same attitude should be there. So cohesiveness is very important role in this group dynamics. Leaderships, group leaderships again. Finally, it is the top of the very valuable determinants. Besides the above factors, the group leadership will also play an important role and in the group productivity. Now, group various type of teams. Now we are talking about the teams. Here, group size. Group size denotes the number of the group. How many groups are there? Then accordingly you can abstract how many employees are involved. So group composition, again, this is the next aspect of the impact of the group productivity. Group norms, this is yet another aspect that can have an impact on the product and the group productivity. Then group cohesiveness, this is yet another aspect in the significance of the context of the group productivity and leadership as well. Various type of teams. What teams? Then cross-functional teams, top management teams, process improvement teams, project teams, self-managed teams, virtual teams, and quality circles. There are different teams are there. depending on the company requirement, you have to develop this type of things. So before making a team building, you have to first see the area of or different type of your teams. So that is already here actually here listed here. Basically, how many teams are there. Now, effective team building. So team building in simple terms can be described as activities that mainly involve building and improving the team performance. Team size is important. Then composition of the teams, again, goals need to be specific and clear. What are the goals or vision, or you can say the objectives has to be specified. Team cohesiveness again coming in this picture. Management of diversity, because there are different age group peoples, male, female, gender, different cultural background employees within the team. So you have to manage all these things. Promoting trust again amongst the team members. So some sort of trust you have to build up. Leadership is one of the vital things, because without leadership cannot be prepared. Training is also important part in there, because in the due course of time you have to have a training is very important, so that it's a part of your team building. So that the area where the area is lacking, that area can be filled up by the training only. Management of conflict, because this is the part are very important, because people should work as a team. So there should not be any conflict, and it is in one directions. All the focus should be in one directions, one mind, one train should be there. Then group dynamics and the team building again. There are problems affecting the teamwork. Now, so far we are talking about the group development, then team, whatever things there, characteristics. Now we have to take into what are the problems affecting the team. That's the part of you should know, or you can see the factors. What are the factors of this? So team building in simple terms can be described as activities that mainly involve building and improving the team performance. Changes in the team compositions, interpersonal relationship with the team members. Communication is another aspect. Social loving, you have to socially have to togetherness. Effective, ineffective conditions is all are as a part of your affecting part. Role ambiguity, if the people are conflict with the role is not specified correctly, or some sort of ambiguities are there, then it is also affect your team building. Lack of trust between the members, because there is no trust in each others. So domination by one or more members. So dominating, that type of nature to be avoided. Lack of the motivation, moral. So disagreement among the team members. So all are the affecting the teamwork. Means this is the area to be looked after. This is the area to be exercised. I mean, to improve the things so that the things should not be happening. That is the idea. Now, conflict and the negotiation strategies we have to see. Now, here the introduction, the definition, defining the conflict. Then we have to decide, discuss about the conflict management. Then what are the preventions and type of bargaining strategies, stimulation factors, ethics and negotiations. So there are finally the Ghanaian approach to the conflict resolutions, avoiding common mistakes in the negotiations. So this is the topics now we have to go for discuss. So conflict is a natural disagreement among the individuals or groups that differ in the attitudes, beliefs, values of needs, So it has both positive and negative sides because in the conflict, sometimes it is required. So we can say another way, it is the conflict as it is by nature, by naturally, it is by default, conflict will be there in the any organizations, and there's some things are positive and negative side also. So conflicts can also arise due to competition, differences in values, attitudes, experiences, goals. So this is the sources of, you can say the sources of the conflict. So various views about the conflict. Some traditional views are there, some behavioral issues views, some intertronics views are also there. Various level of conflict and their types. Conflict within an individuals, conflict between the individuals, conflict between an individual and a group, and sometimes the conflict between the groups within the organizations, and conflict between the organizations. So this is the way we can different level of conflict and types of this. Now, sources of the conflict. As one of the conflict, that is the competitions for limited sources, diversity of goals, that is one of the source of conflict, tax interdependency. So three types of interdependency can cause intergroup conflict: the pooled, sequential, and the reciprocal. So pooled interdependency, basically, if one independent group performs poorly, all other groups may suffer financially. Because if we do the wrong thing, a particular one sections, so that section will get a effect to the others also. So that is a pooled interdependency. Means, the example is there's a T&D losses, there's a transmission and distribution losses are high, and metering billing is faulty. Suppose your meter is faulty, billing is not correctly billed. Suppose you have consumed or you have expenses more, you have consumed more energy, but because of the fault meters, because of the fault energy meters, it is billing is very less. So who will suffer it? That is basically the company will suffer. Overall revenue will be low. So it is adversely affected. Means here actually I try to emphasize the things. Means one of the group, those who are the maintenance teams, there's a maintenance group. If they are not check the meters everywhere, if not they change the meters regulation or what are the problems, troubleshootings, then it will affect to the others also, other group also. Means financially it will be losses. So here are some of the examples. The good performance is, if it is poor, by particular one sections, then it will affect to the others also. Sequence of conflict. Sequential interdependence occurs when one group's performance depends on another group. That is, that time it will be your sequential interdependence. Now, reciprocal interdependence occurs when two or more groups are mutually interdependent in the accomplishing their tasks. That is a reciprocal type. Differences in values and perceptions. That is one of the sources of your conflict. So a lot of conflict is generated within the organizations because various groups within the organizations hold conflicting values and perceive situation in a narrow and individualistic manner. So management and labor conflict is a well-known example. Basically, all the time some conflict will be there because of these values. Some of the your perceivedness, the situation, different things are coming in the picture. Organizational ambiguities. So conflict may emerge when two organizational units compete over a new responsibilities. So this is one of the, that time it will be some ambiguities will come up. Sources of conflict, another part. There's the introduction of changes. If you want to change, the change can breed a intergroup conflict, acquisitions and mergers. For example, the encourage intergroup conflict, competitions and stress. These are all are the your sources of the conflict, because the stress. Those who are, suppose for example, those who are old employees, they are traditionally they work it. But when the new technology has come, because the technology has come, so now they have to update it. That time some fear or some of the reluctance or some resistance will come. So this time some of the conflict will start. Stress will come. Nature of communication. One of the major fallacies among the about the conflict is that poor communication is the cause of all conflicts. That is because you are not completing your communications. You are saying something, it is not understandable by the employees. He is doing his own. So sometimes the lack of communication is there. That is the because of that sometimes the conflict will start it, because he may take in other way also. You are saying very politely something, but wording is also important. Language is barrier is also there. So many aspects are there. The communication skill has to be developed to reduce the conflict. Aggressive nature of people. Sometimes it has happened. So because of that, the conflict will start. Another factor that has immense potential for generating the conflict within an organization is personality characteristics that account for individual differences. So this is the one of the area source of conflict. And as a result of intergroup conflict, some changes that may occur within the groups involves so the group cohesiveness increases. This is the effect of sometimes the effect of the conflict. Now it has the area are involved. The group in cohesiveness increases. The group becomes more closely knit. So it is a plus side, it is a positive side. You mean to say that as a result of intergroup conflict, now the changes has happened. The group becomes task-oriented. Leadership becomes more directive. Organizational structure becomes more rigid. And group unity is stressed, because when the things, because the stress actually, other I can interpret the other way. Stress sometimes required in the organizations. Not too much that sometimes the people can work more or better. The quality work can come in the stress environment. When he is stressed, he is giving a good work. But even though it is a debatable, but it has happened. So sometimes the stress conditions are welcome. I mean, in the sense of basically in the top level manager, they can take the quick decisions. No, really, because the situation is like this, he has to take actions immediately. So this is that's why the group demands the increasing loyalty and conformity from the members. So then it will be a good atmosphere. Effects of the conflict. Prolonged group conflicts cause the following changes in the relationship between the groups. If it is conflict is prolonged, long time it is happening, then what will be the things? There is a groups become antagonistic towards each other, because they will not some sort of interference, always will be interference. Enemy will create the enemies, then goal-oriented behavior. So it is some sort of interference will start. Perceptions are distorted. What are the perceptions are there? People are already learned, or the idea, what about the ideology, or whatever the things are there, it will be distorted. Communication cases, it exists. What are the communication? Totally, it will be gone. There will be no, people cannot hear to hear, nobody can bother to other things. So the respect to each other also to be less. So when is conflict, member and group of a interactions with the members of the others, if they are forced to interact, they tend to show hostility and the aggressions towards the others. So you cannot force also. Groups always apply a double standard because if it is a prolonged, so everybody will in survival mode to say the wrong thing sometimes, even they are in denial mode. So it will be a different situation. So remaining in very vacuum will start. So the group will not be perform in a neat way. Effects of the conflict are from the above two lists, which I already have discussed. You can see that between the conflict. So some of it is come out, some of the lists are come out. The conflict clarifies real issues. So any conflict is there, will be clarified what are the issues. Conflict increases the innovations. You can start thinking of new things. And intergroup conflict solidifies the group also, because slowly it will be in bond, it will be in a rigid forms. Earlier it was a very in a loose manner, now it will be in a solid form. Conflicts serve as a catalyst. Sometimes it will create some of the strong enough. Conflict resolutions solidifies intergroup relationships. So all are the effect of the conflict. So here are some of the model we can discuss. This model has given what the way your conflict resolutions are started. First the explanations, then your declarations, then your resolutions, and finally it is a chain system, and finally it is your disagreement on confrontations. So this is the way the process, the resolution process, conflict resolution things. There are 5 stages as shown. So this process are configured. Now another process is there. This is your conflict handling intentions, the Thomas framework. Here also some sort of has given how to competing and then the collaborating part. Then after that, finally accommodating and avoiding the things. Then finally it is compromising. So this is another framework. Another is Parekh's framework is there. That this framework processes 8 styles of the conflict management based on two nodes. This is avoidance modes, and another is approach mode. You do or otherwise not do. So this is the bifurcation of there. There are 4 segment is there, 4 and 4. There are 8 segment. Avoidance or approach. There are 2 parts, 2 areas, and accordingly you have to what are the outcomes will come. That is open areas. Then contingency framework for conflict management processes 3 main strategies. One is the collaboration, bargaining, and power. There are 3 process. Through this process you can see the contingency frameworks. So simulating productive conflict. Another is your confrontation strategies, where the how to the problem solving, organizational redesigns. So all are your preventive, some preventions of the conflict, so that we can avoid the conflict. Then your stimulating the productive conflict. The following may be taken as signs where conflict situation stimulations is needed. The organizations is full of yes or yes men. Everybody are employees are afraid to admit the ignorance. Compromise is stress in decision making. Managers put too much emphasis on the harmony and peace. So here actually we are talking about basically the your strategy of what to do, that to simulation the productive conflict. So this is the area discussed. some of the, I have highlighted some of the points. There are so many points up there. So people show great resistance to change this area. Confrontation strategies. So there's a problem solving. There's a problem solving is an attempt to find a solution that reconciles or that integrates the needs of the both parties. So both the parties are here together and see the outcome. I mean, for the satisfactory solutions, they have to work out for the satisfactory solutions. So organizational redesign. Sometimes the redesigning of the structure, restructuring of the organizations can be an effective so that the intergroup conflict resolution strategies, so that you can change somewhere, you can transfer somebody, you can put a new CEO or some reshuffle the employees. So this is the way you can reduce the conflict also. So redesigning is also important. Negotiations. The process of reaching at a mutual agreement by the two or more parties called the negotiations. So all negotiations share the same following common elements. The parties involved in the way of independent. The parties are in the conflict over goal and processes. The parties involved are motivated and they're capable of influencing one another. The parties believe they can reach an agreement. So this is a negotiation process derived. The process of reaching at a mutual agreement by two or more parties is called the negotiations. So you can say it that way. Now the Lax DA and the 7 years in his research paper, the manager has negotiated, developed it, thought that basically the 4 elements came out pictures at 4 different stages of the negotiation process presented in the next slides. We have to present the next slide. There are 4 elements. Which are the elements? That is the different stages: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. That's only the style of the negotiation process as shown here. Investigations, then after that the preparations, then bargaining, and finally the agreement. There are stages are going on how to proceed the process. So all the stages has to be covered, then only you can have a concrete idea of the, you can avoid the problems. This is some strategic problems. Now, the types of bargaining strategies. Here actually you see some distributive bargaining and are shown here. The starting the bargaining zone, you have to identify the particular zone. The picture is showing like this way. There are 2 parties, party A and party B. Somewhere you have to come near at the particular zone, that is a bargaining zone, where you agree some of the, suppose for example, party A, there are 10 agenda, and party B, there is also 7 agenda, and there are some agendas not exactly matching. Now we have to mapping the things where the things are same, almost same. It can be manageable, it can be agreeable. So this is the way I have to see. Some of the particular 1 or 2 agenda, it may not be accurate, or it may not be some further discussion is required. So first you have to identify this process, which are your settlement range. Then finally you have to further join meeting, and you can do this final settlement. So this is one of the process like this. Gender difference in the negotiations, sometimes there is a constructing study of gender differences in the negotiation part. Then culture and negotiations is another of the emerging globalization purposes because of the cross culture negotiation exchange. So this is also area our bargaining strategies are here. Then your third party negotiations, because sometimes it has happened within the organizations or the team may not be able, HR department cannot be done all these things. So that case you have to hire some mediator is required. The persons who can do the job. You can hire the third party that way. Mediator, this is the third persons not associated with the concerned parties. Neutral, you have to do it. Arbitrary is also same thing in the third case, but in the case of arbitrator, uh, this success rate is more because he has to give us some decisions, some conclusions you have to give, solutions basically from the arbitrator. But in the case of mediator, it may or may not be. Dispute may be there. But in the case of arbitrator, you have to get a correct results. So that means the effectiveness and the success rate of the arbitrator is comparatively higher than mediators. So arbitrations always result in settlement. So it will give us some settlement also. Some approaches, Gandhian approaches also there. There are some to how to conflict the relations after the integrations. As you know, humanities, Mahatma Gandhi, that humanistic values as source, always he has given a priority to human things. Peace is very important. So the conflict can be negotiable that way. The major adoption by the Gandhi, his writing presented 3 levels of norms that were derived from the Indian traditional wisdoms. The first level of the norms related to the goal and conflict. Second levels, you have to see the conflict, what is the struggle related to your conflict struggle and the process. And third is the final level, you have to see the related to conflict solutions. So there are 3 areas, traditional wisdom are shown. And avoiding common mistakes in the negotiations. So avoiding the common mistakes in the negotiation, what are the things that are letting your ego get in the way? So ego is one of the part. So putting more values with yourselves and thinking about the oneself can prove to be disadvantageous. So that part is the ego. Basically, the ego are one of the more avoiding part. It should be avoided. Having unrealistic expectations. So sometimes the union or in the management, unrealistic, suppose bonus they are discussing, that is not unrealistic. This company cannot be given that much of money as a bonus. So sometimes it is created. That has to be reduced. Should not be unrealistic. So means realistic expectations should be getting overly emotional. Sometimes emotional is very hampering the things. The conflict can stop in this way also. So negotiators who display anger during the negotiation, so online, then it will be able to create problems. So this is the area has to be same. Now, letting past negative outcomes affect your present ones. So sometimes from the past also, we can learn from a lot of things. So you can straight away, you cannot letting the past negative outcomes. So it will affect, because sometimes you see in the present scenario, you have to analyze the past things also. Then only you can have a good idea. It should not be repeat again. So research shows that the negotiations had previously experienced ineffective negotiations were more likely to have failed negotiations in the futures. So this is one of the things to be avoided. Now I think we can now block 2, unit number 7 we have completed, the motivation parts. Now block 3, unit number 8 and 9 we have completed. Now is left out block is the unit number 10, job stress, and balance block 4 is there. So subsequent the videos and the classes we can discuss that 2 classes is sufficient to cover up the things. So now I think I can say the down in this way, block 1, block 2, block 3 have completed. Now the last block is left out. So thank you very much patiently to listening my lecture. Now we have discussed it. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you very much. No, the block 4, emerging trends, is also important. Apart from these videos, I think learners can go through the study materials, video study materials. That is good actually because video study material are very elaborately everything I discussed.